Is there anything better than the sound of sizzling bacon? Hey sweeties, today we are making homemade bacon. That's right, we have pork belly and we're going to cure it and smoke it, flavor it whatever way we want. It's gonna be good. Please subscribe to Sweet Savant, hit that thumbs up, that notification bell, and now let's get into this pork belly and make some bacon. I'm gonna make 3 different kinds of bacon today. I'm going to take the skin off 2 of these slabs and leave the skin on one. Taking the skin off does allow that cure to sink through even better. Each of these slabs is just about 5 pounds. So the most basic recipe for making bacon is pork belly, kosher salt, and pink curing salt, not pink Himalayan sea salt, pink curing salt, also known as prov powder number 1. You can add sugars if you want. For this first slab, I'm going to carefully take that skin off. You just want to leave as much of the fat on as possible. If you can buy it with the skin off, definitely do that. But you can even smoke this with the skin on and take the skin off afterwards. And then that smoky skin, you can use it to flavor your greens or soup, beans, so good. So 2 of these, we're gonna leave the skin, take the skin off, and 1 slab will leave the skin on. So it just takes a little bit of time. Just go slowly peeling back, little by little. Leaving as much of the fat intact as possible. Now when you go to the market, they may not have the whole slabs of pork belly out, so you have to ask the butchers to give you a piece. And that's it. We've got our skin removed and our pork belly ready to salt and cure. I'm gonna use these large, these are 2.5 gallon hefty zip top bags. And I'll just put the whole thing in there. And this makes it easy to store and turn your pork belly, because you've got to turn this whole bag every other day. We're going to leave the skin on this one while we cure it. Look how meaty. Look how meaty that is. That's gonna be some amazing bacon. So we'll leave the skin on this one and we'll take it off after we cure it. We've got our 3 slabs of pork belly ready to go. Kosher salt and pink salt, not sea salt, not Himalayan sea salt, but sodium nitrite, yeah. We're really curing here today, folks. So let's get on with it. So each of these slabs of pork belly is gonna start the same way with a 1/4 cup of kosher salt. And that is spilling all over the place. Oh, there we go. Nice. A 1/4 cup of kosher salt. 2 teaspoons of our sodium nitrite, pink salt. Mix it up so that it's evenly distributed. We're going to start with our skin-on pork belly. Let's do that first. So, this is the skin-on pork belly. We'll take the skin off of this one after it smokes. I folded down the top of this bag so that salt doesn't get here in the track because it makes it hard to seal. Then, we're just going to evenly sprinkle salt on both sides and rub it around. You could add sugar to this if you wanted to. I just don't want to, not for this one. Sometimes I like my bacon no sugar. Perfect for if you're on a keto diet. You're trying to avoid extra sugars. Sometimes I just don't want it sweet. So rub that all around and on the sides. Make sure it gets evenly on both sides. And on the edges, perfect. I'm gonna wash my hands. We're gonna seal this up. Press the excess air out. And of course, if you want to, you can put whatever seasonings you like, however you like your bacon. You can do it, because it's yours. I'll show you on these two. Let me get my Sharpie, because we want to make sure that we label it. So, get our Sharpie. This is plain bacon. And the date. It's important to put the date on because we want this to cure from 7 to 10 days, and you don't want to forget how long your bacon has been curing. So this can go in the fridge, and we'll just flip it over. Every other day, we'll turn it so that the cure, because some liquid will start to draw out of the bacon as it firms up, out of the pork belly, as it firms up. And we want to make sure that it stays evenly coated. So every other day, we'll go in the refrigerator and flip it over. Now, let's go on to our 2 skinless pieces of pork belly. And it starts the same way. 1/4 cup kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of pink curing salt, powder number 1. Not Himalayan pink salt. And sprinkle. Flip it and sprinkle. We'll do the same thing to this pork belly. Now we're going to fresh grind our peppercorns. This is actually a little 3 peppercorn medley. And it can be pretty coarse. It's gonna give us nice peppery flavor. So we've got our peppercorns ground up. We've got our brown sugar here. We'll combine those. This is actually my coffee grinder, and you're supposed to have separate coffee grinders and spice grinders. So my coffee will be peppery next time I grind it. And honestly, coffee would be a great flavor in the bacon too. So I don't mind if a little coffee gets in here. That would be delicious. So smell. That's amazing. Fresh grinding your pepper for this makes a big difference. You want the flavor to get into your bacon. So this is one of those slabs of pork belly that has the skin removed. I've already salted it with kosher salt and this pink curing salt. Remember, not Himalayan sea salt. I can't stress that enough. We're gonna cover both sides with the brown sugar and black pepper. It was hard for me to decide which flavors to do. So I did a poll. I did a poll on Instagram and I did a poll on Twitter. And I asked there which flavor I should do. Which flavor should I do? Should I do black pepper and brown sugar? Or should I do honey and jalapeno? Y'all, I had so many responses and it was hard to choose. I had so many people that wanted, both flavors. So many people asked to do both. And I said, you know what? I got enough pork belly. Let's just do them both. So if you want to participate in choosing flavors for recipes that I do, please follow me on Twitter and follow me on Instagram. I'll put a link in the description box and you can let your opinions be known over there. So that, it's so pungent. That black pepper, my goodness. It's well coated. I'm going to show you a close up. That's the black pepper, brown sugar bacon. I wish you could smell it. Look at that. We're going to seal that up. Be careful not to get any of the spices or sugars or salts in the seal, or else the seal won't seal. Push out the excess air. Seal that bad boy up. Now, label it. Got my Sharpie. Now, clearly, we know this is the black pepper bacon, but always label it anyway, especially to put that date on there. So we'll put black pepper bacon. That one is ready to go. We'll put this to the side and then we'll chop our jalapenos. Now we will chop our jalapenos. I'm just going to cut the top off, put it in a couple of chunks. You just don't want that hard stem in there. I'm going to leave the seeds in there. All right, that's what we're talking about. We'll dump some of these and we'll chop up the rest of them in batches. We've got our jalapenos fresh chopped in there. Now we're going to drizzle in honey. And you can use all kinds of flavorings and sweeteners. You can use, I'm going to use all of this honey. You can use maple syrup. You can use molasses, all kinds of different flavors. Get all that in there. And a little scraper. You get the idea. Now, we'll squeeze the air out and squish this around. Massage it. And remember, the salt is already in there. We'll just massage that honey and jalapeno all over. And this is going to sit for 7 to 10 days. We'll flip it every other day. Without any excess oil. And label it. All right, see you in about a week. 3 kinds of bacon. This is going to be plain. This is just salt and curing salt. Black pepper and brown sugar along with those curing salts. Jalapeno and honey, done. Into the refrigerator for 7 days. And here's the part that tests your patience. It'll take about a week to 10 days to cure this pork belly, depending on how thick it is. Then you rinse off all of that cure, the salts and the seasonings, and pat your pork belly dry. This next step is optional. Replace that pork belly on a wire rack, put it back in the refrigerator overnight, and that helps for a pellicle, or like a thin film of protein, to form, and that helps the smoke to stick to your pork belly. It's smoking day. We've got our charcoal briquettes going in our chimney starter and our protective gloves. You gotta be safe. Safety first, folks. I'm using an inexpensive offset smoker that I bought at Home Depot. It was about $100. Eventually I'd like to upgrade to a pellet smoker grill that needs a little less tending. I'm using some applewood chunks for our smoke flavor. You can use hickory, that's a nice hardwood smoke, and you can use mesquite if you like. Mesquite is a stronger flavor. Just toss those dry right onto your briquettes. Let's get our pork belly on that grill. This is the piece that we left the skin on, the one that's just cured with salt. And now we'll put on our black pepper bacon and our honey jalapeno bacon. I'm just gonna pop a whole jalapeno right there, just so I make sure I know which is which. We want to smoke that bacon at about 225 degrees for 4 hours or so. We want to reach an internal temperature of 150 degrees. So replenish those charcoal briquettes and that wood as we go along. The smoke travels across the chamber, filling it up and then up out the chimney. We don't want to be in here for too long because we're letting the smoke out. Close that up now. Let's take a little peek inside the grill. Now you don't want to open it too much. I had to move one of the pork bellies up to the top rack because it was getting a little bit scorched right there next to the smoker box. Let's close it down. It's storming out here, folks. Let's take a peek at the fire. It's still going well, it's going strong. Want to make sure there's good air circulation around it. So our smoke was fine. Let's close that back down again. And now we'll just wait a couple more hours and our bacon will be ready. Time to pull that bacon off of the grill. We've got that jalapeno honey, the brown sugar, black pepper, and traditional bacon. Let's grab these. Nice and smoky. Still a little rainy out of here. We'll put this jalapeno with it so we know which one is which. So remember, we left the skin on one of those pieces of pork belly, and it comes off really easily with a long, sharp knife. Watch your fingers because it's greasy and slippery. But it comes off easily after you smoke it and let it cool. If I'm making flavored bacon, then I would take the skin off before smoking and give a chance for that flavoring to sink into the pork belly. One of the benefits of smoking it with the skin on is now I can use that pork belly skin for flavoring beans or collard greens. So good. And I love this knife for slicing bacon. I'll put a link to it in the description box. This is called the Tojiro Big Almighty knife. It's perfect. It's not for like chopping bones. It's not a cleaver, but it is great for slicing pork belly because it's so wide. It does a really good job on that. Look how beautiful that bacon is. Such a pretty color. And see, this knife is, the blade is about 15 inches long, so I can make a long cut all the way down that piece of bacon. Look, and you can see, this is why I want to make my own bacon. I can make the slices as thick as I want them to. I can make big chunks, big cubes. It's great. Make your own bacon. It's time for a taste test. Let's fry up some of those bacon pieces. I cut them into different shapes so we would know which is which, and then we are going to sample it. Personally, I like my bacon plain, straightforward, just salt cured. Perfect for a BLT. Look at the color we're getting on that. Gorgeous. The jalapeno flavor came through really well on that jalapeno honey bacon. I also liked that black pepper brown sugar bacon, although I think the next time I will use molasses for a stronger flavor. Now you can store it a couple of different ways. This big chunk we're going to wrap in parchment paper and then wrap it again in aluminum foil because we don't want to get it freezer burned. So we're going to wrap it well, and you can slice it and wrap it, or you can leave it in a big chunk and just make sure you label it so you know what the heck it is. Another way to store it is to use a vacuum sealer, and I bought this vacuum sealer from the Wish app. I think I paid like $25 or $30. I did a whole video on my experience with Wish. It was pretty weird, so I'll put a link to that up there and you can check that whole thing out. But it came with these smaller sealer bags, so I had to cut the bacon into small pieces, but it does a good job of removing all that air, and it helps for that bacon or whatever you're sealing to last longer. So we will pop these in the freezer, and this bacon is going to be ready to go with some biscuits, honey. It's going to be so good. And that's it, folks. Cure and smoke your own bacon right at home. Season it the way you want. Cut it as thick as you want. Look at that. That's a meal. Look how thick that bacon is. Delicious. Please subscribe to Sweet Savant. Hit that thumbs up, that notification bell, and y'all have a delicious day.